Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? I'm here with Karl today from the awesome band Tarnish. Had an opportunity to find their music, hit me when I needed it, and I'm very happy to have him here. If you follow us on Instagram, you know that they were on our weekly threes of things that we were listening to, so it's always awesome to have something that I'm listening to and the artist here after that. So welcome to the show, Karl.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
So why don't we dive right in? I know the band started in that crazy time. If people don't remember, about 4 or 5 years ago, there was some crazy shit going on in the world, and Tarnish started to form and come together through the conventional way bands were trying to put music together back.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. Yeah, so the way we started was I was going to college down in San Diego, and that's where I met our bassist. And he came up to me. I was playing a show with my old band actually, and he came up to me after the set, and he was like, "Yo, that we should jam sometime." And we ended up jamming like once, and then COVID happened, and I moved back home with my parents, which is up in Northern California in the Bay Area. And so we were just on Zoom like every day, just like sharing riffs and stuff, which was pretty weird because that's not conventional, but it was wild. And then eventually stuff kind of got more relaxed. So we would make trips up and down. He lives like 8-9 hours away from me. And yeah, we just make trips back and forth. And then we met the rest of the band, who I currently live with. I live with our drummer and guitarist in a big mad band house. So
Crushed potato chips all over the place, beer cans, Coke cans. Like, yeah.
100%. We keep it clean when people come over, but if no one's over, it can be a nightmare.
So how'd you meet up with the other guys? Was it just from seeing them at other shows, local venues? Did you put out anything to find some great musicians or what?
Honestly, just like it was a weird circumstance of just getting really lucky. Our drummer, Jack, I met because I moved to Sacramento with some friends because I was, after living with my parents for like 5 months during COVID, I was like, okay, I need to go be on my own again. So, so I moved in with a friend out here in Sacramento, and he was like, oh, you'd really like my other friend, Jack. And so it was just kind of a friend thing. Met him, we clicked, started jamming. And then our guitarist was actually living in San Diego as well as our bassist, but they just didn't know each other, which was super funny. And we met him at a show that we played down there. We asked him to fill in for us. And then he was filling in for us a couple times, and he was awesome. And then we were like, hey, we have an open room in our house up north. And he was like, yep, I'm down. Like, it was that easy. Yeah.
So I mean the running away from home story, I don't think that gets told enough. Like, people don't understand, right. There's people that have just never left home, but I always go back to the time when I got out of the military. First thing I did, I come home, live with my parents. 2 weeks later, I got an apartment because I was like, I can't believe I did that for fucking 18 years.
Dude, exactly. And it was like, yeah, after being away at college, for like 3 years doing my own thing and then going back to them for, only like 5 months, I was just like, I love you guys, but this is too much.
Yeah, thanks for everything, but there's a reason why we're supposed to leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So getting together and you get the band together, was it very much like it just, when you had everybody together, you're like, well, this is it? Like, did the sound change from those riffs that you were sending back and forth on FaceTime, and you were just like, oh, wow, this is, because it usually, when you start a band, you feel that crazy, like all of a sudden that spark's lit, right? And you just feel the energy flow through everybody. It's like you can almost see the electrical current, and you're like, oh, this is it. This is what it's supposed to be. Was it like that for you?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely, like, as we integrated the other guys, like our drummer and our guitarist, it got more and more like, oh, this sounds legit. Like, this sounds like stuff that like we listen to, or like that quality. And yeah, for sure, it was awesome. Once we all finally got together and started jamming, it was definitely like it took a step up from, like, at first it was just like, this is like a COVID passion project thing, and then once we got everyone together, it was like, wow, we could actually do this. Like, this sounds great. So we're all really stoked on what we're making now. So yeah.
Nice. Now, when in your life, when did music kind of take a hold of you? Like, when did it make a change and you realize that it was something special? For a lot of people, for me, it was a kid hearing the Beach Boys. My life changed forever. But like, do you remember like when that first sound hit you and you're like, whoa, what is that?
Yeah, probably. So I have a lot of older siblings. I'm the youngest of 7, which is crazy. And growing up, my mom made music like a very big thing for us because she went to like performing arts college and theater. And nice. So we would watch like musicals and stuff. And I was like kind of into that. But what really honestly got me into it was my brother going through a huge MCR and Green Day phase. And he was a drummer, and we shared a room. So he would be drumming all the time, and like he would play the Green Day songs really loud on a speaker and like drum along to them. And I was like, man, this is fucking sick. And so I think that's probably what really got me into it. And I'd watch like a bunch of like documentaries with him, stuff like that. And then I eventually got a bass, which was my first instrument, because for some reason my siblings and everyone was like, oh, no one plays bass yet, so like let's just get Karl a bass. And then so I would play along with my brother, not very well, but we'd like pretend we were Green Day and be jamming. And like, and yeah, that's when I was like, this is so fun. And yeah, that and just like I just remember like in high school, like I lived down the street from my school, so I'd walk to school every morning and I would just blast stuff in my headphones and just be all hyped for the day. And like even before I had a car, you know, and that was, I'd say those like two things were what really made me like, all right, this is what I'm about.
How about when you found like you get away from what your brother was showing you? Do you remember the moment when you found like that first band that you felt was just yours? Like you found something that it's almost that moment where no one else knows about this but me at this moment.
Yeah, like for sure. There was a lot of there still is a lot of bands that he and I like both love. Like growing up, he would take me to Warped Tour every year and stuff.
Nice.
Which is really cool. So we're both into like that scene. But yeah, I'd probably like the first one that I really liked that he wasn't that into is Knuckle Puck. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yeah, no.
Oh man, love Knuckle Puck. Yeah, they're like my favorite band in the world. He like was like okay with them because they're in like the Warped Tour scene, but he was never that into them. And they have that thing where I just love everything about them. Like I love the way they structure their guitars. I love their bass. I love that they have two vocalists, and I really like their lyrics. Like my brother doesn't really give a shit about lyrics in music. He's just like there for the vibe. And I'm like, that's fair. And I know a lot of people like that. But they were the band where I was like, wow, I really connect with like all these words. I feel like, yeah, like you said, like they're making music just for me.
Yeah. And those are the moments too, like, and that has a lot to do with, you know, what I do here is like when I find music, like initially when it catches me and I have a band, I'm like, wow, this belongs to me. And I kind of hold it to myself for a good month or so before I start telling people about it. So I can still have that new feeling. Like I'm just an old man who loves fucking music, but I always love that initial feeling of finding that band.
Yeah,
that belongs to me just for a little bit, because I know a lot of stuff happens. They either break up and go away or they blow up, and you after a while you're just like, yeah, I can't deal with it anymore. So like,
yeah,
you know, I enjoy that little bit of selfishness too when I get to, you know, that's what you guys were for me for a little bit before I started telling people about you guys. And it is that moment that I think a lot of people take for granted, like when you find that initial like, oh my God, this was made just for me right now.
That's 100%. And that's awesome that you gate kept us for a little bit. I appreciate it.
Well, I think there was a thing like, so when I hear a song, you know, I start doing all my searching on Bandcamp or something pops up on Spotify because they make all these things for hidden tracks for me, like they discover artists. And when the first song I heard, absolutely loved, was Blank Stare.
Oh yeah.
And so then what I do is I'm like, all right, I love this song. And my theory is too, especially when there's only one song, like I've always said, almost anyone who's proficient at making music can make one great song.
For sure.
So then I go into my deep dive and then I start at the beginning. And when I heard like, you know, after your demo of 5 months, I went to Foothills and I listened to Foothills and I said, holy shit, these young kids just wrote a 90s underground punk song. Like it was like early emo punk. Like it was like probably bands that you may not have heard of. For me, it was like Big Drill Car, Shirk Circus. And it was like had this 90s where I was like, I love these kids. Like this is fucking awesome. Like to have that essence. And I don't think you knew what you were doing at that time because it's like your first song, really, your second song.
Yeah, dude. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, that is 100% the case. That song is like, I feel like it kind of shows that we were like growing as artists, because it's definitely not the same as like our current stuff, but it was like a little transitional place for us. And yeah, it does have a 90s vibe for sure. And yeah, we still love playing that song. We kind of just like forget about it because, you know, like I'm sure you've encountered this with artists, like we're always just stoked on like the next thing. And like just coming up with the next sound or like getting into the next like phase. But yeah, that's really cool that song did that for you. That's awesome.
When you start to put together and you're progressing, like for people listening to the show that haven't heard you yet, for me, like everything just takes another step to somewhere else, right? So like every song is starting to sound different, which to me, I absolutely love, because sometimes people find their formula and then, like I always say, like they just take their recipe, they know the recipe works, but after a while they just start over salting it, and it starts to like get a bitter taste because they don't change anything. And you guys being as young as you are and a young band and starting out, I love the fact that every time there's a new song, it's completely different than the last song that you wrote. Is that a conscious decision, or is that just at the moment what you're feeling like, hey, this is a song, you come together, you write a song, and you don't know that it's 1000% different until it's finished? Or is it, are you focusing on trying to make it different?
That's a really good question. I feel like sometimes we are trying to make it different, just because right now we're doing like singles instead of an EP, so we kind of want everything to be like like exciting and have its own kind of vibe. But at the same time, I don't know, because like we definitely have like the same writing process every time, but I think a lot of that comes from our producer, Ben Hirschfield. Shout out to him. He's the best. He works at New Tone Studios, and he works with bands like Story So Far and Mom Jeans.
And Mom Jeans. Yeah. The Mom Jeans, and they're awesome.
Yeah. And so he really helps us with that. Like, I think we'll send him the demo, and he kind of like tone wise and everything will be like, okay, like I think this song will fit the best in this direction, like vibe wise. And we kind of just really trust him, because we every time he does it, we're like, yep, that's how we're gonna do it, and we form the song around that. So yeah, I'd say sometimes we definitely do try and make it different, like on purpose, but sometimes it's just kind of how it comes out, and maybe it's based on whether like Nick, our guitarist, wrote the riff, or if I did, or if someone else had the first idea, and that's just where it stems from.
It's considering like it's different, but there's a lot of bands, nowadays that did start that over Zoom and trying to create things. Do you remember what it was like when you were finally all together and you first performed live in front of strangers? Do you remember that first moment, and how did it go?
Yeah. So I think the first one with all of us, because Nick was the last to join. We had fill-in guitarists for a while, but our first one with him was a pretty great show. We were in Riverside, California, and there was a shit ton of no, it wasn't Riverside. That was a bad show. It was
I'm gonna want to hear that too.
Yeah, that one was tough. Where was our first one with Nick? I think it was somewhere in San Diego, and because he was still living there, and we had a super good turnout, and I just remember feeling awesome because we didn't have to worry about like the whole fill-in thing anymore. I felt confident that like everyone was going to play their part, which was cool. And yeah, it was really cool. Also, when we first started playing, I was playing guitar and singing at shows for a little bit because we didn't have a guitarist, and that sucked because I couldn't like focus on going crazy on vocals and like, jumping around and stuff. So that was really cool. I remember the feeling of being like, oh, sweet. Like I can just run around with this mic and just do my stuff, and everyone else will do their stuff. And yeah, it felt good for sure. We've had some awesome shows, and I feel like it just feels better every time because now we're getting more confident and more tight.
Now we'll get back to the bad show, but when was the first time in your life that you performed in front of strangers, doing anything musically? And I'm not looking at being in chorus or the band in school. Like I'm looking the first time you stepped out of your shell and had to perform and basically stand in front of people to be judged. When was that?
My first band when I was in college in San Diego, before I met all these guys, we were called Suburban Park, and we played
your first band ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And, so the first band named Suburban Park. Okay. All right. Not terrible.
It was okay. And I'm still homies with all those guys, but we just don't jam anymore. And our first show was like an open mic that we brought our full band setup to, because we were allowed to do that. and it was so bad, dude. I was playing bass in that band and then doing vocals as well. And the cord on my bass was fucked up, so every couple seconds, if I moved too much, you'd hear like through the amp. And I was really nervous. I like didn't move at all. One, because the cord, and two, because I was just stuck there. Like I felt like I couldn't move. All of our vocals were super shaky because we were so nervous. And then I remember asking this guy that was up next at the open mic. He was like sitting to the side of the stage after our set. I was like, "Hey, like, was that as bad as I thought it was?" And he was like, "Yeah, it was pretty bad." Like he straight up just told me.
I love honest people.
Yeah, it was appreciated. But that was my first time ever performing. So I was like, wow, that was something. But it made me want to keep doing it. So
Even though you were told it immediately that it was terrible,
yeah,
like, all right, I want to do this again. Like,
yeah.
it takes a lot of balls, like, to
Yeah.
just say, wow, this guy that I don't know, just like, that was fucking terrible. And you're like, I want to keep doing this.
For sure. I don't know why. I was like, you know what? I'll prove that guy wrong one day. That random guy.
Now, was one of your first concerts you ever attended, was that Warped Tour? Or do you remember the very first concert you ever saw?
The very first concert I ever saw was this band called The Main.
Yep.
Yeah, I went with my brother. I think I was like 11 in San Francisco to go see them. Love those guys. They're still one of my favorite bands ever. It was really cool because my brother put me up on his shoulders during one of the songs, and the singer called me out. And I had like flippy Justin Bieber hair at the time. Because I'm in like 5th or 6th grade, and
I can picture your punchable face right now.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And the singer was like, he called me out during the song because I was up on my brother's shoulders, and he's like, "Look at you, man! Like, you're cuter than Justin Bieber." And I think I have a YouTube video of it. I should try and find. Someone got a video, and then he was like, "Do you have a girlfriend?" And I was like, "Yeah," with like my squeaky voice, and I was like in 6th grade, like first girlfriend. And he's like, "How old are you?" And I was like, 12. And then, and the whole crowd went crazy. And he was like, He's like, "I'm 27 and I don't even have a girlfriend." And that was my first ever show. And it was really cool that I got to experience that little moment on my first show.
Wow. Now let's go back to when you brushed over it, but you're I guess you can say ate shit at a show. Like, the show that stands out that you're like, fuck, I wish I could have that back.
Oh man, yeah, okay. So yeah, this was the one in Riverside. And we had played there like months before to like a very packed house with a lot of energy, super fun. We go to play this time and there's maybe like 5 people standing and watching us. And the rest of the people, it's the outdoor part of a bar, this venue, and it's also like a golf course connected to it. It's super interesting. And the rest of the people there are literally just sitting, trying to have like a nice dinner. Like they're like families, like outside, and we're out there like playing our, screamy, like emo stuff. And there's no one's vibing at all. No one's doing anything. And it just sucked. Like I just felt really weird. It felt like we like weren't supposed to be there. Because people were just doing their own thing and we're trying to, play an emo show. And it was so strange because, yeah, like months before there was like a bunch of kids out there like moshing and stuff. But so we had those high expectations and it just totally flopped. And then me and Jack, our drummer, drove back to Sacramento from Riverside that same night because we were so pissed off. So we pulled an all-nighter. We drove 8 hours at like 10 o'clock at night just to get home because we were like, fuck this. The show sucked. We never want to play here again. So yeah, that was a rough night.
That's a tough thing to do, to stew for 8 hours on what just transpired. You know, my move would have been find the nearest fucking Roach hotel and fucking go buy a 12-pack and get rid of it. Get rid of that thought and move on to the next day. Yeah, honestly, we should have done that. Our girlfriends were pissed off at us for driving home at that time, but we were just like, I don't know, we just wanted to go home, and then the next day, I pretty much slept the whole day, and I was like, wow, that felt like a weird bad dream, like it was strange. Now, in the vein of today's music climate, where everything is labeled, right? Everything has a genre, a subgenre, a playlist to fall in on. And with you creating different sounds every time, do you find like yourself maybe being thrown on a playlist that you find completely absurd that you're even a part of it? Or do you think you're falling into where you should at that time?
Yeah, definitely sometimes like with the Spotify curated playlists we get on, sometimes I'm like listening to it and I'm like, oh yeah, this is not at all like bands we play with or bands we're trying to be. That is for sure a thing. Like we'll get put on like all new rock, which is really cool. But we don't consider ourselves like a pure like rock band in the sense, like we consider ourselves like, I guess you'd say like emo pop punk with like a little touch of hardcore every now and then and some alternative, but not like classic rock.
Yeah.
So that is kind of interesting. That happens sometimes for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't picture a Tarnish song coming on after like Greta Van Fleet or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Just doesn't ride the same way.
For sure. But I mean, we get a lot of streams from those playlists, so I'll take it.
Well, yeah. Congratulations on your $12 you made last year.
Yeah.
Spotify.
Literally.
Do you find, especially for a newer band, and getting on the playlists are important, but do you sometimes just feel like lost in the shuffle until some dumbass like me reaches out and been like, hey, you guys are fucking awesome, let's do something? But like, do you find it hard, especially surfing the waters of today's music climate?
Yes. Yeah, 100%. It's weird, especially because it's all social media based, basically. Like if you don't have good social media game, like you're not gonna do that great. It's definitely strange, but it's kind of cool at the same time because like you said, like we'll just get random people hitting us up and like people from across the country that I wish like could go to our shows. Like we'd love to like get out over to the East Coast because we've had other, like I went on a podcast with this East Coast based guy named Mid Park, and he kind of does like what you guys do. He does journalism for like new bands and stuff like that is really cool. Like it's very cool to be like found by people in different areas and like to meet cool new friends and stuff. But it is also annoying sometimes that I'm like, wow, we have all these people that are into us that are not, able to come to our local show.
Now, is that moving forward with the band, do you foresee yourself just keeping your head down, putting out music, and then trying to figure out the right moment to take that, pack up in the van, and instead of driving 8 hours in California, drive, 8 hours to Arizona?
Yeah, for sure. We've been thinking and talking about that, but right now kind of our focus is we're trying to just get really good opening spots for big shows. In our area, like we had the opportunity in San Francisco to open for Glassjaw, which
Nice.
was really sick. Yeah, we did that at the Great American Music Hall. We opened for Cave In at the in Santa Ana at the Observatory. Yeah, so we're trying to like
fucking legends in the game of bands.
Yeah, for sure. It was really, really cool. So right now that's kind of our thing. We're trying to just get bigger shows from that and sort of just get attention from people, and then take it from there. But we've kind of heard from other bands that have like come up in our scene that that's a really good way to do it because you never know who's going to be at those shows, and yeah, so we're kind of focusing on that. And then we're also like, we're talking to a label a little bit right now, which is cool.
Nice.
Yeah, sort of got a little bit of stuff in the works, but that's a whole long process. So we're just, focusing on the big shows right now. We're opening for this band called The Ocean, who's like a really big, like German prog band. That's
I know who they are. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. A bunch of people who I've been talking to like have had no idea who they are. But yeah, so that's going to be really sick. We're opening for them in like the biggest venue in our city of Sacramento soon. So yeah, we're just kind of doing that right now. And then, for sure at some point we're definitely going to pack up and get out there.
That's awesome. And I love hearing like the statement of you never know who's in the audience, because I've told younger bands that like I've been at shows with bands that, later on I was lucky enough to help them put out their albums and do things. And I was at this one show, and it was a band that I had met when I was traveling, and I was in Nashville, and then they came to New York and they played, and there was my wife and I, the lead singer's dad, and the guitarist's mom was there. And that was it, except for one other person there. And I knew who that one person was, especially from being around the New York City area and knowing record labels and everything. And I was like, that's Tom Jenkins from Sony. And
Wow.
I didn't tell them anything, but they fucking crushed the show. They played like they were playing to an audience of 1,000 people. And after the show, I was like, guys, that was fucking unbelievable. And the fact that you just did your thing and you didn't care that like no one was there, and they're like, no, listen, we're in New York City playing. Like, we never thought like it would happen. So even if we were playing to the bartender, we didn't fucking care. I was like, that's a great fucking attitude to have. Listen, they didn't go on and get signed or anything, but like that's still the energy. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't know who the fuck is in the audience at that moment.
Yeah. 100%. That's really insane that guy just happened to be there.
Yeah, he just happened to be there, you know, having a drink, and I was like, holy shit, I'm like, something may happen for these guys. Like, this is the fact that like they didn't mail it in, that just made me respect them more and you know, want to help them put out their next album and give them money and say, yeah, like that's the kind of stuff where I think, you know, bands, when they start out, they think it's always supposed to be, you know, there's always supposed to be people there. And if no one's there, then we're not going to give it our all. But like, always give it your all, because you never know. You may never have an opportunity again to give it your all. So always do it.
Yeah, 100%. It's very hard, like in those moments. But yeah, I've heard a bunch of stories like that. So that's definitely something to think about when you're playing those shows to nobody.
Yeah. Now, especially for you, this is usually a tough question, but with all your music that's released, and I've already talked about how, you know, everything starts to sound a little different. If you had to like play one song for a stranger, like you only get one shot to make an impression on someone who's never heard your band, what song of yours would you play for them?
Probably Cold Walks to the Liquor Store. I would say that one is not our newest single, but came out before our last single, Feeling the Same. It's just got like the vibe of what I feel like we've been trying to like lock in on sound wise. It's like, it's emo, it's groovy, it's got really fun vocals that like are just kind of catchy. I feel like it has all the stuff. It's fast at some parts, it's slow at some parts. It definitely like gets stuck in people's head. And I just love all the instrumentals, like piece by piece in that song. So I'd probably say Cold Walks.
Nice. Now, would you say that's also your favorite song you've released, or is there a different one? Because it can be different than what you play for someone than what you prefer.
Yeah. I don't know. I still really like Blank Stare a lot. That's probably my favorite.
Yeah, that's awesome. And a lost leader for me is Over and Over. I fucking love that song.
Oh, cool. Right on. Yeah, we haven't been playing that one as much recently. I don't know why, but yeah, that one's super fun and angry too. So that's it's a good finger point song.
Nice. Now, is there, I mean, you've mentioned a couple bands that you listen to, but is there a band in your life that, you know, for better or worse, I usually just categorize it as, you know, you need to listen to something, but you don't know what you want to listen to, and you just always find yourself going back to listen to this band because they just never let you down? Like, is that Knuckle Puck, or is there something else? Like, I have bands that I absolutely love, but then there's bands that I go to because I've never been let down by them.
Yeah, I would say Knuckle Puck and The Story So Far, probably. Those are just like my two overall favorites, and they just kind of never. There's like one Knuckle Puck song that I think I don't like, and then like I don't think there's any Story So Far songs that I don't like. So it's yeah, I would say those two. They're like my comfort bands.
Yeah, you feel a warm embrace when you put them on.
For sure. And like no matter what the mood is, I'm always down for them.
Now, how about is something that you listen to that people would be totally surprised to hear the guy who makes the music he makes listens to and gets a ton of enjoyment out
of? Taylor Swift.
Just a common theme here, and I'm almost at the point where I'm not going to allow that, because even I'm like, yeah, she's a talented and person, and she just puts out banger after banger, and that's awesome. So of course people are gonna like her, and it's not like we can hide from it anymore. Right. Like, we can't hide from liking Taylor Swift anymore, because you just do. Like, if your ears work, you just like her. So
100%. And I feel like it's probably because like you're talking to musicians, and it's so hard to like not respect that she just really is good at making songs. Like,
Yeah. And I think,
yeah,
and I always put her into like, she holds more weight over a lot of people because she writes and records and sings. Like she's the quintessential artist. Like she's not, someone else. Like people are like, oh my God, she could be, she's like today's Madonna. I'm like, she's not. No, she's not even close. Like she
yeah,
is like. Madonna had somebody writing songs for her, and she just sang and looked beautiful. Taylor Swift is like really trying to come up with some amazing stuff, which holds so much more weight
yep.
than just being a manufactured, pop star.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I watched that documentary about her that was on Netflix, and like my girlfriend made me watch it. I'm not gonna lie, but
No. My wife made me watch it too, right? Wink, wink.
Yeah, but like I did actually start to really like her after that, because she just seems like like a real person too, and she's been so attacked for so much stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, when you're, let's look at it this way: driving in that 8-hour trip back home from that shitty show, was it? Were you in silence, or were you listening to music on your way back? And like, what do you listen to, and what do you enjoy after something like that?
Me and Jack we were listening to music for sure. I think we were probably into like Rage at the time. We went through a little phase of really bumping Rage Against the Machine a lot, which was cool, and we were angry, so that that helped. But we also like. Honestly, sometimes after shows, we won't even listen to music. We'll just, even like a bad show, we'll play card games. Or like we'll do that thing like that dudes can do where we just sit around and we name like obscure baseball players to each other for like 8 hours. Like that's like our biggest thing that we do on those long rides. Or we'll just play like a bunch of like games that we've made up and stuff, and just kind of not even really talk or think about the show.
Well,
whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, listen, when I have trouble sleeping at night, like you mentioned baseball players, so what I try to do is I'll pick a team from a year and try to name all the players on the team, like
I
when I can't sleep. And it's always, and what I find too is sometimes I fall asleep, other times I cannot go to sleep until I figure out who the left fielder of that team was at the time. Fuck.
Who's your team?
My team's the Detroit Tigers, but
okay.
Like baseball, I'm a huge baseball historian, so it's like I'll lay there, I'll be like, all right, the 1975 Cincinnati Reds,
okay,
in my head, like, and I try to name everybody, and it's always one of those things. I get to a position, fuck, like, now I'm up. Where's my phone?
That's so fun. Yeah, we go on this page called Sporkle, this website where you can like do little quizzes and stuff. And there will be ones like that where it's like name the entire roster, and it has all the positions laid out, and you just have to type in everybody. I love shit like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I gotta check out.
Yeah.
What's the last song you cried to? And you can tell us. Don't be afraid.
Honestly, this happens like most at times. I listen to Billy Joel, but Moving Out.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know why his just voice is so powerful, man, and like his storytelling, and it'll do that thing like you're listening to a song and like you get teary for a second, you don't even notice it because it's just like wow, like you feel it.
Yeah. Well, those are the moments too. I live for when it comes to music is getting like the goosebumps when I'm like and not knowing why. Like that's my thing. Like my moment last year where, it became my summer band was Versus the World. And it was because of one song, and it gave me goosebumps while I was driving. And I wasn't even like paying attention really, because I was, concentrating on driving and getting to where I needed to be. And I went back to the song and I was like, oh, now I got it. And it's a powerful punk song. And I was like teary eyed because I dove into the lyrics and hearing the lyrics, and I'm like, fuck. You did it to me.
That's a really good one. And then another one that always makes me really sad is what's it called? The Day That I Ruined Your Life by Boston Manor. That's a really sad song.
Let's keep this sadness going. The world's gonna end in 5 minutes. Immediately gonna crash into the earth, and you have to listen to one song. What song are you listening to?
Oh wow, that's really tough. Um, damn, I have to listen to what. I guess currently, like my favorite song right now that I've been listening to a lot is it's off the new Knucklepuck album, and it's called "The Tower." I really like that song, or "Groundhog Day" off that album. They're just really like fucking epic, and they have like really epic endings and outros, with like yells and like wailing guitars and stuff. So I feel like that's a cool like end of the world moment.
Nice.
Yeah.
We, would you close your eyes listening to it, or would you watch that fiery ball of death come?
I'd watch. I would definitely watch. for
Nice.
sure.
Now, what are your biggest fears when you go into the studio to create a song?
Probably just that it's not gonna like hit the way I want it to. I feel like that is the thing I get scared of a lot. Like when I'm delivering vocals in the studio, because like you practice a song like a bunch and you make the demo yourself, and then you go to record and you're like, okay, like whatever I put down like is gonna be on the song like forever. So I get really scared about that. Luckily, like our producer's cool, and he tells us like, hey, let's try out like a bunch of different things, or like I trust him when he says like do it like this or try this. But I'm always worried, like, is that like, sometimes I'll listen to our songs and I'm like, damn, I could have done that one note like cooler, because now it's on this track forever and it's out,
Yeah, it's a tough thing to. You're also going to be extremely critical of yourself when something's finished, right? Like
for sure.
It's trying to listen back to stuff like, for me, we just had a moment where our server fucked up and the songs that I put into an episode didn't show up. And then I didn't realize until it was like too late, till it was like 5 days that the episode came out. And people were like, well, you didn't listen. I'm like, do you understand how much time I put into production and how much time recording and all this kind of stuff I do, that when the episode finally is released to the world, it's like releasing a song after a while. You don't want to hear it again after playing it 1,000 times. And then when I finally do, when I get a message like, hey, dude, did you have music in this? And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, how did that happen? And it's a mistake, but shit happens. But it's like, I get that, where you're just like, you're going to be so critical of what you're doing. And again, at the time, you're just like, I don't want to fucking hear this anymore.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, for sure. I was listening to an interview with The Main recently where they said they never listen to their music once it's out, because like while they're making it, they listen to it a million times, which is what we all do. And then once it's out, like it's for the listener. It's not for the band anymore, And that's like how I've kind of been thinking about it recently, where like I don't really go back and listen to our stuff too much once it's out, because I've listened to it a million times when we go back and forth with our producer doing edits,
Yeah. And that's what I've said before, and The Main saying that, and I've said it to people 100 times. Like, I don't necessarily like, especially when like a storyteller session, when they tell you about what the song means and they tell you why they wrote it and all this kind of stuff. And a lot of times I tell people, I've had somebody like try to start explaining their song, and I'll stop them, like, stop.
Yeah,
I don't want to know, because that doesn't belong to you anymore. Why you wrote it, what it means to you. You need to keep that for yourself, because it completely means something different to someone else, and they own it now. It's their song. And once you explain why you did it, you could ruin that song for them, because now it doesn't mean as much to them and it means something completely different. And that's a lot of times I try to be like, dude, stop explaining your song. Stop. Don't go on stage and explain it to people, because it's not yours. It doesn't belong to you anymore.
That is so true, man. That's a really interesting thing, how people grasp onto a song and make it, relate to them in a certain way.
Yeah, like it could be like the saddest song in the world. It could be a song you wrote about, your mother passing away, but to someone else, it's a song about love and joy and growth and falling in love, but to you it's about dealing with sorrow, and if you start putting that out there, it just pulls everything away from and then sometimes I say, like, you could just lose that person forever now. So just like, if someone loves your music, let them have it, and now it belongs to them. Leave it the fuck alone. Don't explain it. Just play.
Yeah, that's a great point. I love that.
When you are coming up with music, like, do you go to things for inspiration? Do you like try to look for something, or is it just in the moment what comes to you?
Usually it's like a reaction. So it'll be like something is going on or has happened that I'm really just feeling that I'm like, it's irking me, or it's not irking me, or it's something I've been thinking about in the shower for like 5 days in a row. And then, and like, it's usually a reaction to something going on in real life that I interpret, into like a different way. I have a little notebook, and I just jot down stuff whenever I'm feeling it. I never go and be like, okay, I'm going to have a writing session right now. Like I never schedule time for that. It's more so like something happens and then I just go to my book, depending on whatever it is.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing that's filled with stuff in my phone is the notes section, because as soon as I have a thought, like I could be sitting somewhere, I have a thought and I'm just like, boom, 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 boom. Here you go. Wow, these are some great lines. Wow, boom, boom, boom. Well, okay, cool. And then I move on. And then a lot of times too, like I'll forget about it because there's so many, and then I'll go back. I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I need to share with people.
Yeah, for sure. That's yeah, and like a lot of it, sometimes doesn't make the cut, like because you wrote something down in the moment and you're like, okay, that sounded a lot cooler earlier, like. But there's always something in there that's like, yeah, exactly. This is the part that I'm gonna release.
Yeah, I can't tell if that was 4 beers in or 8 beers in. I no.
Exactly, dude. That happens all the time.
What's your favorite moment when you're performing? Like, is it the moment right before you're walking out on stage? Is it the moment when you hit your first note, or is it the moment when you end the show?
I really like before we start our set, I go like when we're all standing up there, I go up to each member and give them a little fist bump just to like be like, yo, you good? Like everything, you're all ready to go. And that's probably my favorite moment because I'm just like so stoked in that moment. Cause like, it's like the best feeling ever that you're about to play. You're about to be really loud. And like, especially when there's people there. Yeah, that's probably my favorite moment because I'm just so fucking excited.
Nice.
And it's like a little camaraderie.
Well, yeah, it's that it's, people don't understand, and I'll say personhood, even though it's brotherhood of a band.
Yeah.
Like it really, people don't understand what that's like. And to be in a band and, for me to be in the military also, and having a bond that, no one else at that moment can feel or is doing is so special that the day that it goes away is, it's really hard, and I look back, I've been out of the military for, let's see, we're in 2024. So almost 28 years. But I still have the brotherhood with some people that I'm still friends with, and we still talk. A couple of them, we were in a band together, and it's like we still have that even though we're worlds apart. But that brotherhood kind of never goes away. And I always feel bad for people that have never had the opportunity to have that in their life.
For sure. Yeah. That's really cool comparing it to the Army and stuff too. I can see how that's like a very similar thing.
Well, you're experiencing something that, and that's what I try to always put it to. You're experiencing something with a group of people that not many people have the opportunity to do. So you're always going to have a bond. Even if you're in a band where you fucking beat the shit out of each other on stage and break up.
Yeah.
You, like, the Ataris or something,
Yeah.
You still have that brotherhood, and you can still always go back, and you can almost still get over everything. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Now, if you weren't in a band, what would you have wanted to do?
I was a political science major, and I was super set on like going into politics. And I don't know, I had that like naive poli-sci major thing of like, I'm going to be the one that makes the difference, Yeah. And then I studied it for 4 years, and I realized it's all fucked. So like I kind of just don't even, I try to stay so far removed from politics now, which I guess is cool because the band I feel like is like the total opposite. But yeah, that's what I was going for. I wanted to, that's actually like part of the reason why I moved here to Sac, because it's the capital, and I wanted to work at the capital and start just doing legislature and stuff. I interned for a congressman in college and all that stuff. So I was really like all about that. But then I just got so over it after studying it for 4 years, which is funny.
That explains the Rage Against the Machine on the way home.
Yep, 100%.
Uh, now, so you have coming up, you're going to be opening for the Ocean. What else are you really looking forward to next for
Yeah,
you?
so we're gonna be opening for the Ocean, and then we have a music video for Cold Walks to the Liquor Store coming out, I think, in the next few weeks. So those are two huge things. The music video is really sick. Our homie Tommy did it for us. He's Tommy English, shout out. He's awesome, and he does like professional videography and stuff. So that's gonna be really cool. And yeah, the big show, and then hopefully just more big shows like that. And then we have 3 songs in the tank right now with Ben, so we're just waiting on getting those
Nice.
mixed. And yeah, it'll those will be out soon in like the form of like a new little EP, so that should be really
Awesome.
cool. Yeah.
It's why I asked the question, because I'm always searching for if I have something to look forward to, which is always new music from a
Oh,
band. So
you definitely do, man. Yeah, new music video and new music. So, and I had a question. What is your like overall favorite song of ours?
it's Blank Stare
Still Blank
or
Stare.
yeah, Blank Stare or Foothills.
Okay.
And I think it's, between those two, like my 3 written down are Blank Stare, Over and Over, and Foothills. And to me, they're all a tiny bit different. I love Cold Walks. It's a
Hmm.
great song, and it is kind of the song like you mentioned you would show to people, and it is the song that I have shared with people.
Hmm.
But again, I've taken ownership over 3 songs that I like, and
Yeah.
they hold my own reasons for them. So that's why it's always important too, to like, especially when I find a band and I start listening to their music, I always gravitate, because I do my listening series where I drive to it.
Hmm.
I sit down and listen to it on the big stereo in the studio, and then sometimes mowing the lawn, I'll listen to it. Like I have like my theory of 3 to 5 listens, and all different,
Hmm.
because that's when I know, and I'm like, all right, here's my songs, but here's
That's
the song that's going to get everybody.
yeah, that's cool. You got your own like deep cuts.
Yeah, like, and it's always a thing, because there's a lot of times where artists create music that it's extremely important to them, and listening and to as much music as I do, I find it like I'll find a song, and like I'm like, oh fuck, there's something going on here. And then when I do talk to a musician, I'll be like, all right, so we have these songs we talked about. And like sometimes, a lot of times it's after the show too. I'm like, so I don't want to bring it up because I don't want to know anything about it, and I don't want you to go too into detail. I'm like, but here's a song that I absolutely love. And, why don't you think it has as many streams as it should? Why don't you think you play it live? Why don't you? And it's like, well, that's, a lot of times they're like, that's my favorite song. That song means the most to me, and I don't know why it really hasn't captured. And I'll be like, well, here's what it made me feel. And they're like, fuck, that's exactly what I'm going for. And like,
Uh,
it's always weird that an artist can create a song that they absolutely love. That's why when I asked what's song would you play for someone and what's your favorite song, is because a lot of times I want to see if it mirrors up to what my favorite song from you is.
oh, okay. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, that's cool. Definitely like it's so interpretive to everyone. And with Cold Walks for sure, I would say that I kind of could see how it's like the one that you'd want to show to the most people, but I could also see certain people uh getting more so connected with other ones, because I feel like Cold Walks is almost like poppier, than our other stuff. So I feel
Well,
like
yeah, but that's the thing. So when people say, use the word pop, right? And
uh-huh.
I've explained this before on the show, and the word pop just means accessible. And
Yeah.
what you want to do is you want to get, you know, the little girl or the little boy to listen to it, but you also want it to be okay for mom and dad to listen to it.
Right.
Because when you have that, then you have 4 people who like it instead of 1 person in the house. So having that pop connotation to it, I always put towards people. I'm like, listen, don't run from it. Don't run
Hmm.
from it, because as a band, what you're trying to do is, yeah, you want to create the music that you love, but at the same time, you want to create music that connects with people. And if it has pop undertones and someone's like, oh, well, that song's really poppy, I'm really not into it. It's like, well, because it's not for you. It's for that other person who's going to tell 10 other people to listen to that song. So like, and that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to pull people in. You don't always want to run away from it. And I try to tell younger bands, don't run away from it. Hold on to it and pull people in.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And it's funny how that gets like a negative connotation in the scene sometimes. Like, you know, some people are like, oh, like they're going more poppy. Like, I always think that's insane because it's like, why would you be upset that a band you like is gonna? Okay, I actually now I kind of get it now that I'm saying it out loud. But but it's still kind of funny, you know, like the whole thing of getting upset that people are making music that is gonna draw in more people. It doesn't actually make sense.
No, and that's sometimes where I'll get in arguments with some friends. They're like, you know, their new stuff is way too poppy. I don't think I'm into it anymore. I'm like, well, have you actually fucking listened to it?
Right.
Or are you just upset that your girlfriend or wife likes it now? Like, can you admit to that? And sometimes people are like, no, I guess you're right. Like, yeah, like it's weird. It was like, I thought it was my band and now my wife's in love with it. And it's like, well, so why are you running away? Now you have something in common. Like, maybe find a reason why they like it now too.
Yep.
Like, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. The music's still there. And the stuff that they created that you fell in love with isn't going anywhere. Like, it's not, you know, especially if you buy it into physical form, you're always going to have it. So don't worry about it. You can always go back to it.
That's so true.
Well, so after trying to get together and everything, don't want to keep you here all day. We have some exciting football games coming on here in a little while. Right now, before we move into our final segment of our weekly threes, where you guys were last week for us, why don't you tell everybody how to find you guys, all your handles, how to keep up with you guys and see what it is you're doing. I'll give you this opportunity right now to tell everybody how to do that.
Cool. Thanks, man. Yeah. Tarnish.ca on Instagram is where you'll see most of our stuff. We post pretty frequently on there, show updates. We talk about our new music. We have a YouTube as well, tarnish.ca. What else are we on? I think we're on Twitter, but we don't really use it too much. Or X, I'm sorry.
X. And, I didn't want to have to, you know, I didn't want to. But if people don't know that it's X by now, and when you call it Twitter, then fuck you. You shouldn't be following us there anyway.
Yeah, there you go. Instagram's our biggest thing. And we will be posting updates on there. My personal handle, if anyone wants to see the life of the Tarnish singer, is Karl Forster _III. And that's pretty much all of our stuff. Spotify, obviously, everyone knows where to find us on there. Just look up Tarnish.
Awesome. Well, you know, it's been awesome having you here. I'm excited to go on to our weekly threes to where you guys have appeared before. So I'm excited to hear 3 bands that you're listening to right now that you'd like people to check out. You give your 3, then I give my 3.
Okay, cool. One band that I'm listening to all the time, they are another NorCal local band, but I promise you this band's going to be really big. They're awesome. They're called Giveaway. Shout out to Giveaway. They're really cool. They're really emo like us, probably more emo than us, but they just have really hard hitting lyrics and riffs. So yeah, Giveaway. Let's see, who else have I been listening to? Obviously Knuckle Puck, always love them. And then let's see, another kind of up and coming band, Present. They're from the Bay Area as well. They're really cool. They're like hard rock kind of mixed with some shoegaze elements. And they're kick ass. So those are my 3 bands.
I like what you're describing there, so I will check that out.
Yeah.
All right, so my 3 for this week. My first one is a band called Deaf Andrews. The name of the album is Saturday on Saturn. They're North Carolina, like indie dream pop. I'll throw that on.
Whoa, okay, that's cool.
Number 2 is a band called Cold Years. The name of the album is Goodbye to Misery. Scottish rock band. And if anybody listens to the show, you know how I feel about Scotland. It's my favorite area for music to come out of.
Sweet.
And last but not least, All Honesty. The name of the album is Everyone You've Ever Known. They're a Canadian pop punk emo-ish band. So that's my 3 for this week.
I know them. I think we might have talked to them on Instagram before or something. They're cool. I've listened to them before.
Yeah, they're dynamite. So I'd love to give them a shout out.
Hell yeah.
But Karl, listen, thank you so much for not only being here, but thank you for creating the music that brought us together. That's the most important part to me. I appreciate what you guys do. I'm so excited to hear that new music will be coming out as well. So, thank you for what you do and on a consistent basis. And that's put out banger after banger. So thank you for that. And thank you for bringing us together today.
Thank you, man. This has been a blast. I would love to come on again if that's a thing you ever do.
We do.
Oh, right on.
So, but everybody, this has been Tarnish, and you know what time it is now. It's time to go out, listen to Tarnish, and have a great fucking time.
Great fucking time.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.